Hey daisies, welcome back. Come with me and pack with me to a trip to Kochi. Meet you in the airport. Take off time. Couldn't film a lot because they asked us to keep our mobiles and devices aside and listen to the safety measures. And I had really less charge on my tablet, so I had to film using my mom's phone and she needed it. So let's meet in the Kochi airport. The Kochi airport has this very famous mural that is just an ambience to look once you get off the plane. It is all over Kerala and they even placed it for ambience in their airport. Now we gotta grab a bite to eat, so let's get out of the airport first and get on a public transport. The walkway is just awesome. It looks like a pathway out of a fairy tale and it's crafted beautifully using nature. I had to stop due to this and not have my breakfast. It was just awesome to look at all these things that were right out of the terminal. It looked like a clean mall. Though it was just an airport and it already rained, but it still looked so magical on its way. You wouldn't believe if I told you this was a terminal. It looks like a palace and gives those cute palace vibes. I was able to film so well just walking and getting through the public transport. And this was another terminal. Anyway, we had a little bit of problem to get out of the terminal and the airport. Anyways, we'll meet you in the room. So I actually came to the room before but forgot to film because we had to get ready and go to a lot of places. But now, let me show you of me getting ready. My parents are sleeping, so shh. Let me show you the view. This is a three-star hotel, so I hope the view to be really good. This is the first time I'm opening the window as I had to save it for the video. Oh my god, just Kerala and Malukor and Kerala vibes. I was really surprised by what was coming up next. Look at that cottage. It looks like a vintage cottage right out of a fairy tale. All of the buildings were crafted and built like you are in a real fairy tale. OMG, they look so vintage. I've always wanted to see such a building with such a color, and you wouldn't believe it. It's not a resort, it's not a hotel, it's just a house and an apartment with a few buildings inside them. People actually live in there. That's a whole fairy tale vibe for them every single day. There's a huge cupboard though. I forgot to switch on the lights and my camera wasn't filming really properly, so I wasn't able to take good videos. But you'll see me soon in the wash basin mirror. This is a three-star hotel, but I expected the mirror as well as the space to be a little bit huge because we paid a lot, didn't we? I didn't expect the space to be this concise as the hotel that we're about to go to next is not a three-star hotel. It's not really, like a very high quality hotel, but the quality and the service was just awesome. And I expected the bathroom to be a little more cleaner, a little more accessible, but it's all right. I expect a little more. It's fine. So here's the vanity. As I told you, I'd already come to the room. I messed it up as much as I can because I had to remove my makeup and I had to get ready. Right, I couldn't really post a video of get ready with me. So, anyways, bye bye. Meet you in the boat jetty. So from here we're gonna be going to the Kochi airport. Sorry, Kochi Fort. I'm just messing up with airport vibes still. So we have to go to the Kochi Fort from where we'll be going to places to sightsee. And the first place is the Chinese fishing net. And this is the first place that you will be getting on when you arrive at the other side. This is a mechanism of age-old technique for fishing. The net works due to the weight that pushes it down to spread the net towards the water bodies, causing many fishes to be caught. Can be done normally except for the weight that cannot be handled by humans. Therefore, this mechanism of a pulley and a load system was built. Second place is a cathedral that is huge enough to fit a large population of 100 or 1000 of people. Let's say 10,000, that's the max or the minimum. This was so tall that I had to bend down on my knees and go to the floor almost all down like a reptile to film that thing. Anyway, this is going to be a police museum. It's not recommended, but if you want to know about the time being concise, don't visit it. But if you want to know about the police and how they actually really work, and you can see a little bit of artifacts and gain a little bit of knowledge from the boards that were kept with the writings upon them of how the museum was and what it was about. Next, we're going to talk about the basement bungalow. I took this kind of from ChatGPT lol. I couldn't type it all up, right? but still this spreads a large message of this Bastion bungalow. This picture and this image tells us right about the how society worked and how Kerala was during the olden times and how the emphasizing of society, the thoughts and culture and ideas were. We could also look at gender discrimination and various of interesting topics. These were paintings and scriptures that were placed all over the Bastion bungalow for a clear look of sightseeing and for knowing. So this naval map and these old maps of Kerala as well as India gives us a vibe about how history was actually made. We're also going to look at a little bit of artifacts, but before that, let's look at some more maps. These were old naval route, and I also found a really weird map. I mean, a very vintage map that goes for feet, but it's not long enough for fitting in the video. It's too long, and also we weren't able to film it because you had to have an official camera for filming that particular map. I'll get it from Google and maybe inform you about it in the upcoming videos. So next we're going to be looking at a little more of paintings. As I told you that the time was really concise, I'm extremely sorry for not being able to film properly. And I'm a really small content creator, which really shows that I wouldn't be able to film that properly because I'm just holding one tab in hand and looking at the various artifacts and the paintings and the sculptures that are placed in the Bastion Bungalow, which is almost giving vibes of a museum. The Bastion Bungalow might seem a little small, but still the British had to destroy a lot of places, but left the Bastion Bungalow, which tells it to be a very small place because of the things that we miss around it. There was also a huge cannon that was built outside, which tells us about the emperors that lived there, and the paintings also tells about the society and how the thoughts and ideas were emphasized. We could also see discrimination between caste, religion, gender, etc. As I told you, we would be seeing a lot of artifacts. We saw a lot of vessels, ornaments. The time was concise. I wasn't able to show you everything. Let's move on to the third place. This is where Vasco da Gama's burial was built. We wouldn't be able to film inside because of respect shown to Vasco da Gama. People were actually filming, but I respected Vasco da Gama and his achievements, and I didn't want to shame an emperor and film his burial because it's a place of modesty and it's a place for peace living his soul. Next, we are here at the wait yeah next we are here at the awesome museum of aeronautics, and I just love this place. Seriously, I kind of got lost little in here because I thought my parents went to the other side of the museum, but they were actually in one of those rooms that was built, and I'm going to show you those upcoming. So first, when you enter this aeronautics museum, the first thing that you see are the equipments that were used for aeronautics and for space and everything, and for all the space missions that were carried out. I had to make this video a lot longer, and I had to keep zooming in and zooming out to show you the anchors and the different objects that were placed at the entrance right away. The nature was also so good and making it peaceful for people to spend more time there. We could see a lot of cannons, and we could also see the information that were written on it. This is a torpedo MK-44, which was an anti-submarine active cannon. Next, let's talk about this. Oh my god, it's just so huge. I had to zoom in, zoom out, and move to all sides of the angle to capture. We are still not, very close to those ships that we're gonna be looking at. Don't worry, I'm gonna film it and I'm gonna show you what it is actually about, but let's come to it a little time later. This was also placed outside, right near the entrance, which made it a really good sight to see. And we had the planes like erected upon, and we had it a little bit of tilted to give us the vibe of it flying right away. Didn't I tell you about the ships? Have a look at it. Oh my god, I was moving my camera so much. I'm extremely sorry, guys, but let's see a clear view here. Magnificent, isn't it? So we could really see the small details inside, showing us how the mechanism of the ship works and how the people in the ship act according to the master's decision and the master's commands and the orders. We would be able to look at a lot of magnificent stuff here, and look at the details that are placed inside the ship. Just wow, right? We also come to know about how the ship worked and how the people inside the ship worked for various missions. The little cannons, the little buckets, the little cargo, everything is just wow, right? And I wonder how much time and days it took them to build that, because it takes me a lot of projects and time Just to build a small ship out of wood, isn't it, guys? I hope you agree to it, don't you? Next, let's continue to look at other artifacts that were placed here in the Aeronautics Museum. Oh my god. It also is about the Naval Museum because it's just combining all those aeronautics and the naval items and all the objects. And let me be clear, I was not a real big fan of aeronautics or anything, but still I had to go inside this museum. And this is a diving bell that is used in the submarine and in the ships to check if there is any cloggage, then people will have to get under this. And this is an instrument that is used in naval, I think, yeah, in the Navy? Yeah, in the Navy. I was not pretty sure and not interested much from when I was a little kid in aeronautics and Navy. But still, when I had to come inside this museum, I just knew that I had to learn about this as much as I can to get the spirit and the vibe of a sightseeing. This was one of the most famous museums and the most awesome museums that I've ever viewed in my whole life, from when I was a little kid walking and talking to now filming. We could also look at the ambience behind. Just look at them, bro. The pool there, and then the area to hang out. And let me tell you, the nature around Kochi is just showing vibes of Kerala and how neat they maintain Kerala. And I just love to come to Kerala just for this. The last time we came, it was only about temples and a very spiritual pilgrimage that we went on. But this time, I got a full chance to sightsee, and I was very, very happy about it. And now let's go to the other side of the museum to look at a little more artifacts. And this is a ship again that I told you I would be showing. There are more details to it than the behind ship. And I hope you can see my face and me filming with a lot of difficulty on the glass panel because I didn't have a tripod stand because it's a tab and I'm not really sure if it'll be able to hold it. Because I don't have a mobile of my own, but I have a tab of my own. Yeah, a mobile would have been better, but a tablet of my own is still awesome because I'll be able to film better, I'll be able to edit better, I edit with InShot, and that's the reason I got to edit this well. I wanted to kind of put my hand inside that. I told her there were a little bit of rooms in which I got lost. This was the one because they were placed like restrooms. Actually, I thought they were restrooms, but they were just magnificent artifacts inside that couldn't be replaced by anything else. They're irreplaceable artifacts and magnificent paintings that were actually being able to touch by you. I didn't take the risk to do that. I don't want to ruin the paintings. I already visualized the time and the effort that would have been taken to paint all of them, and I just don't want to disturb them and get my hands off it. We could see paintings of the Navy and the awards and the missions that were carried out, and we could see the ambience of Kerala, the Kerala folklore, the Kochi vibe, and everything could just literally be seen. And we could also see symbols, signs, drawings, paintings, etc., etc., etc. Next, we are here looking at something that are like the awards that are presented to the Navy people and that are presented to soldiers who work for India as well as, yeah, our whole country. And there were also very interesting things over here, like, there were stuff like this cute little bell that I could actually ring. And I learned a lot about, like, this, like the position of the handle. It was used for communication in the wheelhouse. So, and then here we look at the little compass that rolls, and you can see this that it's placed on a water. I just had to keep rolling it, because I just couldn't stop. And I know I couldn't put my hands on other instruments because I tried doing something to this. It was like just putting my hand on and trying to, roll it or to rotate it, but nothing happened. Let's just talk as we walk. OMG, this place is, making this an addiction. Anyway, so this is the ancient sea trade routes that were put into a very 3D map. Like we saw in the Western Bungalow, a lot of maps here. We can see naval maps that are 3D of Africa, Arabian Sea, Portugal, Israel, Arab, China, India, everything. And there it is, our country. And here we could see that something is gonna surprise all of you. The paintings here look like real men and real women actually standing, and that scared me a lot. It tells about the trade, it tells about how things worked inside the ship, it tells about how things worked inside the village, and etc. 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 And this is telling us about the sea trade routes and how everything took place and the ports of Kerala into a 3D map again. This is only Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu, and just the neighboring states of India in the map. And now we're going to be looking at something magnificent again, a 3D model and a 3D painting of the ships and of the aeronautical instruments, because back there we saw a real 3D one, but it was, it was looking like a whole object, but this looked so much better. And we could see the sea trade, and then we could see the spice trade. Look here, they're trading spices, and these two men that were standing here, let me just show you after this. Yeah, these two men standing here look like real people, and it scared me out so much because they're pirates. And then once I entered the room, I was like, oh my gosh, real pirates, I just have to get out. Looking at Vasco da Gama, I'm so sorry, I thought he was a pirate, because that's how real it looked, and I was just so proud and so honored to literally be in this place right now. I know I'm exaggerating, but you had to be here.
I mean, just look at the view here. The Gujarati pilot and also a very, very, very realistic statue of Vasco da Gama. First of all, it was all written in Malayalam, and then
I saw a board of English written right next to it. It was really helpful for people who wanted to know about what the Gujarati Pal was actually about and about Vasco da Gama, and the statues were so realistic. If you are into taking photos for memories or for taking videos or for vlogging, then you had to come to this place. And this is literally the best statues of Vasco da Gama and any other pilots and any other sea traders I've ever seen. It looks so realistic. You felt like you were walking inside the actual time period when all of this happened. We have another map where we are right now at Nakulam, and then we have a map of the evolution of the port of Kochi, where we talk about the Jew town, the Mattancherry Palace, the Baston Bungalow, and all of it marked on the map, which is in a 3D phase made out of clay, and it was just so awesome. And look at these ships, it's all made out of clay and terracotta, and it is, did as texture art, so that it'll be more realistic for people to look at, and while touching it you just feel awesome. I actually felt I spent the most time in this museum. Like, it was like a trip that I went to, and then I had only 3 days time. One day I went in traveling, and this was the longest I'd ever spent in a museum. uh, so now we are entering like the next door, like the next part of the museum. So this is like the third part of the museum. The first was when it was all about the open ground, and the second was what I showed you before this, and this is the third. This is made out of intricate details that tells us so much about the INS Vikrant. It is made out of mission cuts as well as handmade cuts in the parts, and here we will be able to see the awards and the badges of the Navy people. And I couldn't spend much time here because it was actually really cold and we had to move on to our next place. So I couldn't spend much time here, but I tried my best to film whatever I can. It also was really tough to, hold the tab in one hand. I don't have a tripod, as I'm mentioning again. I had to hold the tab in one hand, and I had to view the rest in one hand, because when I would take videos, it would disturb the my view. It would disturb the sight so much. Like, I had to concentrate on the video, and I couldn't come all the way back to look at it and register it in my mind as memories. So I had to do both at a time. And these are the boards which tell us about the evolution of the Kochi fort, the Ernakulam, and then the maps, and then our Navy of India, our Indian Navy, and the Navy of Kerala. Everything was just written according to the time periods. It started early from the freedom struggle, and from that period of time, like when the Cholas and the Cheras of Tanjavur, they were having that Cheras of Trivandrum were having that war between. I mean, war with Cholas of Tanjavur and Tamil Nadu, and when Cholas captured Cheras and Cheras captured Cholas using their intricate navy power. All of this was just so awesome. I'm so sorry I held my camera upside down here. I didn't actually notice that, but then I fixed it right away. So here we will be able to see the weapons that were used for fighting, just like I told, for example, Cheras and Cholas war. But these are little upgraded weapons from the future. And there were also many information boards that were placed for knowing about each of the badges, each of the awards that were given um, to the warriors. And again, we had information about the weapons, the year they were manufactured, the year they were produced, the year they were used in. And then here we could see the names of the soldiers and the years they were born in, and the years that they spent for the army and we spent for the navy, and it was such a lovely sight to see, especially if you're here to collect information rather than making memories, because the boards actually were very informative. I After taking the video, I went back to each of them and then I looked about it, and it was just awesome. I read almost each of this phase. It starts from the 200 BC, about the Andhras and Kushanas. That was after Harshavardhana's period, when there was really no power in the North India, as Harshavardhana was set to held, and he held all of those little kingdoms together and formed a huge empire. But now, after Harshavardhana's death and after he died, we could see the inequality building up, especially between Buddhism, Jainism being overtaken by Hinduism, and also we could see Vasco da Gama coming to Calicut and meeting the Zamorin and all of them. And after meeting that was when the term Zamorin of Kerala and Calicut were introduced, and then we could see a lot of important warriors. We could see the Tipu Sultan photos, and we could see the year wise, like starting way back from BCs to ACs and then to Anno Domini AD, and then it went all the way to the present. I mean, not the present, but still somewhere close, like maybe a decade back. So we could see like literally the whole historical timeline written here. Not only would we were able to see the flags, we would able to see the artifacts, we would see the Pallavas, we would be able to literally see everything starting from the 782 AC, and then the 1336 AD. Everything was intricately placed, and you could collect so much of information when you're right here. And then I spent so much time in this room, especially because it was dedicated to history, and I love history so much. I would like to spend the whole time looking at the timeline. We also had a little theater where the information would be gathered and they would be just played, but it was about ticket reservation that had to be done before, so we hadn't actually known, so we hadn't done that. So I'm just literally showing you whatever was placed outside, because there were loud noises coming out from there, though the seats were a little bit empty because it was just a practice run that was running inside the theater for the audience to gather up a little later after lunch break. The museum was almost a little empty by this time because I'd spent so much time inside. I didn't realize it was time for lunch, but still, I love to spend so much time in this museum. Though I'm not someone who loves aeronautics, and I don't love anything about aeronautics, I don't love anything about the Navy. I love history, but this told so much about the history of the Navy and everything that it made me spend so much time here. And I'm telling you, this is the museum that I spend the most time in. And everyone of Kochi and Kerala and Ernakulam would suggest you to go to this museum if you ask the local people. So this is a must sightseeing. It's almost
There's so much
like
history over
and
here,
wait,
guys.
it's almost 3 hours since I've stepped in here, and I'm still not bored with it. And I'm showing you a few paintings that were made to replicate and to make a copy of the real photos that were taken, and the photos were converted into paintings by very skilled artists to make that time and make that moment a precious memory forever. And then we could see the first ever sign of the Navy, like the first ever sign that was brought up, and then we could see the evolution of the signs, and then the evolution of the flags. We could see also the evolution of the ships and how upgraded they were and how upgraded they are right now, and how very basic modeled they were before, and everything could be seen over here. And this is a little boat that is handmade. This is not machine made, this is handmade, and this is a very very historical boat that was placed there. And what I loved about this place was not everything was covered with glass panes, not everything was covered with glass panes, and you could actually touch the 3D texture, you could actually touch the boats, you could feel the history, you could literally feel the artifacts that were placed there. But in other museums, you would see that all artifacts were kept together in glass panes, that you would not be able to touch them and feel them. But this made you feel them, giving you a whole new vibe inside this museum. Coming out of this museum is actually a huge thing. Anyway, so out here, I was able to have some food, and I was able to look at the side. This is the first phase of the museum, like the outside where all of the models, all of the huge models were placed. And then we had the second phase that I showed you like way before, and then that was the third phase. So here traveling, I was able to capture the nature of Kerala. It was just awesome. And what I loved about Kerala people was how clean they kept the roads, how well they respected nature, and how well they maintained the museum, that glass panes were not needed.
Next, we are here at the police museum that I already had talked about, but I'm just showing you a clear view because this is like a second part. I made a little bit of mistakes in editing over here, but that was just like a overview of whatever the police museum was. But here we are gonna see what actually was inside. So we could see the badges, we could see the weapons, and we could see the ornaments that were used by earliest police ever. And then we could also see the weapons that were used, and we didn't actually get much time to spend over here. And this was something that was always there in Kerala, like paintings on the wall and the streets, which is awesome. And we are in our next destination, Juice Town. Juice Town is the best place to shop, and you could see all types of stores. And I could see the store that had the largest perfume, world's largest agarbatti, and world's largest perfume, from where I got a perfume of the Gucci replication. It was a very small one, and it just cost 500, and it goes up to 1,500 and almost 20,000 if you want a large bottle of it. And then they would also let you to try all of the perfumes that they have there. They are the largest manufacturing factory of perfumes in the world, and they will let you try each and every perfume even if you want to, if you're in the idea of buying. I was first of all not in the idea of buying because I have a skin allergy which doesn't actually permit perfumes. But then this perfume has no alcohol, though it's the largest factory. They produce it without alcohols. They show you how the process of distillation is done and everything. And they also let you try every one of them if you want to. Not literally every one of them, you would be tired of doing that. I just tried out Chanel, I tried out Dior, I tried out Iceland, and I tried out Gucci, in which I loved Chanel a lot. But then I tried to get Gucci because I used perfumes a long year, like long days ago. I used them, and you know, I had a little bit of skin allergy, so I thought of going for very mild ones after that. But then I wanted to actually go for stronger perfume, so I chose Gucci. And the Jutan was so clean that the pathway was looking like you're walking in a fairy tale, and it looked like gateways to heaven. And here we are back at the boat jetty to get back to our room because we're done with Kochi Fort, and there was a very kind auto driver who took us all the way from Kochi Fort to the Matancheri Palace to the Basking Bungalow to the Cathedral and then to the Vasco da Gama Square to the Juice Town and everywhere. He was really kind enough, and it only cost us 500, and you guys have to try it out too. And it was almost a trip for 4 hours, and then we couldn't actually go to the beach because of the unhygienic maintenance of the beach for the time being. And there were also some construction works going on, and the Chinese fishing nets had a little bit of changes to be made. So we are here at the boat jetty, and I could capture a lot of important monuments and important buildings, and also the awesome view of the sea. We are here back, and we're gonna just go to a hotel maybe and just relax. Oh my gosh, this was so much with one day to do, and you will have to go to Kochi for sure. Time for relaxing at last. What I love about Kerala is that wherever you go, they give you that water which has the very the beneficial water that they give you is just so awesome. I had to buy packets of them, and I had to buy bottles of them too. We're walking back. Oh my god, back to room, and that's it for today. The next day is about Guruvayur. Oh my god. Hey guys, welcome back. So this is day 2, and here I'm gonna be showing you each and everything that I'm gonna do today. Good morning. Today we're planning to go to Guruvayur, but before that we're going to go to Chotanikare. So here we're gonna go to Chotanikare Bhagavati Amman's temple, and I'm so excited for that. Hello, good morning. You know how tired I am that I didn't even get into my sleepwear or my nightwear. Anyways, time to brush. The bath was so refreshing, anyways. Okay, today we're gonna go to Guruvayur from Kochi, but before that, we're gonna go to Chotanikare. Hey guys, now it's time for GRWM with me. After we went to Chotanikarai, I came back again, and it's time for going to Guruvayur, and all of my makeup had worn off, and I actually didn't have much time to go to Guruvayur and put on makeup, so I decided to do it when I was in Kochi itself. I already went to Chotanikarai, and then I'd come back early in the morning. I couldn't film that, but now I'm here to film my GRWM for Guruvayur.
I use this moisturizer and sunscreen, that is Duhans and Sunban. It is recommended by dermatologists for vitiligo skin as well as for every skin. You must try it out literally for sure. So here I am to take you through the rest of my skincare. Keep watching, keep enjoying.
bus, and I'm doing a voiceover with this, so I'm gonna tell you that the bus ride was a pretty long one. I regretted going the bus. I just wish I could have traveled in an AC cab throughout because it took only 2 hours actually for KSRTC bus. It takes only 2 hours, but then it was too exhausting because we waited for 2 hours and then the travel took 5 hours. So we are here, first destination, Elephant Sanctuary. You could see the magnificent elephants here, having their food and breezing along the nature. It was a magnificent view and I enjoyed looking at it. Each elephant was made of its own intricate designs and its own intricate nature. Some being aggressive, some being kind, and some being baby ones getting ready for a bath. It was a very kind view to look at elephants sitting down for bathing. It showed about the strength they possessed, but still the kindness that their heart possessed. Hey guys, now we're done with the elephant sanctuary and our next destination is Soba City. And here we are, and now we have to go back to get our KSRTC bus so that it's a sleeper bus so that we can go back to Bangalore. Let's take one final look. So awesome. Anyway guys, this was all my Kochi and Guruvayur trip was about.